Good evening. Good evening. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you've all had a fabulous weekend as well. Obviously, if you're happy jumping into chat, I'd love to know how your weekend been. What's been your highlights? What are you looking forward to this week? It's lovely to see you. We should have a pretty exciting stream ahead tonight. So at the end of last stream on Thursday evening, we secured qualification for the Conference League, which means tonight is a pizza party. We're going to be doing our usual season review and transfer planning malarkey. But as you've noticed, there were a couple of little changes around here. We've just reworked the layout a little bit. We've done a little bit of changes with some of the ways that things are going to be presented coming into this week. We've got a new series starting concurrently to this tomorrow, which I will kind of explain a little bit more about as well. But before we get to all that, let's say a hello, because we've got some glorious people in this evening. Blue Lions is in, lovely to see you, my dude. Levi's in, welcome in, sire. We've got just a small smattering of Sherbs. We've got the medical car and Zeratul in as well. Oh my word, we've even got a Guja as well. Welcome in, Dave. Thank you very much for the raid. What beautiful timing. We've just started. We're in the middle of our introduction, so this is perfect. How was your stream, my dude? How was your stream? How's everything going? So not just do we have a Zeratul, we have a little bit of Koza Bob. It's all the legends are in this evening. Supreme Quan is here. Welcome in, my dude. As is John, sir. You finally made it, Quan. Fantastic. I'm genuinely, obviously, so sorry to constantly keep on streaming at bad times, but I'm glad to have you in. I'm glad to see you as well, Johnson. Zeep is here as well. He had a few hours away from the baby yesterday. Managed to get to the pub for a few hours. That is an amazing weekend. Arguably the best weekend you could possibly ask for. Cyril is here as well. Lovely to see you, my dude. The weekend was sadly unproductive. Looking to set things straight this weekend. I think that sounds like a brilliant weekend, sir. There is no harm in having an unproductive weekend. Have a chance to unwind, relax, maybe not do things. Just bear me one moment, though. Ooh, pardon me. I do apologise there. Welcome in, by the way, Fog You Healer. Thank you very much for the follow. Lovely to see you. Adam's here as well. Lovely to see you, my dude, as well. So let's head in. Let's properly catch up on what's going on. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the slight changes for this evening. Most notably, the fact that there aren't any mini-game redeems. But we'll do that whilst we're having a look at the state of play here. And this is the state of play. Here we are, the end of the season. We were quite comfortable in the end. We finished a whole 12 points ahead of 8th. So whilst we were expecting a bit of a battle to reach Europe, in the end, we were absolutely fine. And that means we're going to be in the Conference League next season, which is absolutely mind-boggling in many respects. We've got to really look to expand this squad now so that we're not just able to hold our own, to be able to deal with the Bundesliga next season when teams might take us a little bit more seriously, but also to compete in additional competitions. We threw the towel in, really, when it came to the DFB Pokal last season. We drew against Union Berlin. We didn't bother putting out a particularly strong team. We were knocked out very, very early. So we'd like to consider that as an actual chance for silverware next year. And so we've got a lot of things to do. So we've got to take a look here at the squad at the moment. We're going to go through. We're going to review all the wonderful players we've got. Deal with things like Davy Selke retiring. Making sure, identifying a handful of players that maybe we're going to look to move on, and then move towards the new time. See what wonderful signings we can bring in. So Guja says the stream was grand, lost just 2 from 13, and still in every competition from the start. That's pretty damn good indeed. Johnson's learning some theory for his driving license. Decides to take a little break by presumably watching some guy analyze spreadsheets. Indeed, surely this is the worst kind of break to possibly take. Just some weirdo muttering on for forever. Rex is in. Welcome in, my dude. How are you? How was your weekend? Coritiba's weekend was very film-filled. You watch 3 and then judge the Oscars without watching the nominees. The best way to judge the Oscars, surely. So what were, Coritiba, what were your personal choices for Oscar winners? Who would have you liked to have seen win the big prizes? Benny is in. Welcome in, my dude. Lovely to see you, my man. You were here with Dave. Fabulous. How was your weekend? Mr. Echo's in as well. Do I have any objective in the safe or any seasons limit? Nope, there is zero objective whatsoever, Mr. Echo. We are playing to have fun. So we started in Finland. Let's pop on over to the profile for a little bit here. Down here, we started in Finland with IFK Mariehamn. IFK Mariehamn, who we got won back-to-back league titles in our 3rd and 4th season. And that seemed like a good reason as any to start casting our eyes further afield. And almost immediately, as soon as we went, yes, okay, maybe we're ready to leave, SV Darmstadt offered us an interview, and we ended up over in Germany, where we were started off in the relegation zone in the Zweite Bundesliga. We saved them the 1st season, got them promoted the 2nd, and this, technically the 3rd or the 2.5 season, we secured Europe. So we're just going to see how far we can take it. Viva's in as well. Welcome in, Viva. Lovely to see you, my dude. As is Heston. Heston's excited for the new series brings tomorrow. Oh, you're in for a treat. Benny is unfortunately awful. You're sick. Oh no. That's not good to hear. That is not good to hear at all. I hope it's temporary, and I hope things clear relatively quickly. Cocky Smash is in. Welcome in, Cocky Smash. How you doing? It's pizza time. It's pizza time indeed. So yeah, today we're going to have a look through. We're going to do a little bit of reviewing. Now you will have noticed that some things like there's this big gap here because I've been playing around. We've got a slightly new layout, which means that we've got more height available to the Football Manager screen. I haven't necessarily filled it. I haven't gone back in through the skin properly and filled it. I've added in the season stats at the bottom here for player profile, but almost every other single page is going to look a little bit wonky. Now, alongside those changes with the skin and the layout, that also means that I haven't adapted things for mini games. So we don't have our normal suite of mini games tonight. So instead, what's going to happen is when we get to once I'll come off a break, as we normally do. It'll be sort of like every hour and 20, hour and 30 minutes or so. We will then head in and play a mini game from playfootballgames.com. We'll just do that as kind of an ad hoc thing without needing to redeem any points. And that's probably going to be quite helpful for me this week, because I am going to be streaming Tuesday and Thursday as well during the daytimes. So I don't necessarily have much time in between streams to like prep everything. So this will probably be what we'll be doing over the course of the week. It's going to be using playfootballgames.com instead of the prepared ones, which are a little bit more bespoke and a little bit easier to track. So we'll see how it goes over the course of the stream anyway. Now let's head on back over this way. So Coritiba really liked the Danish film, The Girl with the Needle. It was the only one I watched and enjoyed. Fair enough. Now, when you say it's the only one you watched and enjoyed, does that mean you watched others and didn't enjoy them, or that you only watched that one but you thought it was good? So Mr. Echo says, thanks for the explanation. That's interesting story. Hope it stays like that. Hopefully so. Thank you very much. Tyreek George fan is in. You lost a charity netball tournament final earlier today on rock, paper, scissors. Oof. That's one way to lose. That is definitely one way to lose. But you were in a charity netball tournament final earlier today, and it was evidently a really good tight game. So everyone wins, I think, right? Everyone wins. Pardon me. Right, so let's go through the squad as we're here. So Mohamed Sahinovic was our new signing in the season, was relegated the season before. We swooped for 1.4 million euros. He was pretty good. Just about prevented more goals than expected, which is pretty much all I can ask for. He was very active in sweeping. He was very safe with the ball. Solid. I mean, a position I'd happily improve if we could, but not necessarily a pressing concern. Nicholas Sauter only played 45 minutes. Nothing really to judge there. He does want to leave. so we will probably look to move him on. And we do have a new goalkeeper arriving. So Jens Halen, currently at Cercle Bruges. He is doing really, really well in terms of expected goals prevented. So he faces 1.55 XG per game, concedes only 1.27 goals, isn't particularly active when it comes to sweeping. And we can see from his pass completion rate, 69%, nice, that we're probably looking at a player who's sending it long. So he's going to have a lower completion, but he's not losing the ball too much. So generally speaking, reasonably solid. We'll have to see how he does in terms of adapting. So he'll probably come in as our backup. Sahinovic with the starter, but we will keep an eye on goalkeeper as well. So Benedict Wimmer, he came in January, and really, really good. 86% tackle win rate, 70% header win rate. They're all really, really good as far as I'm concerned. Not particularly progressive. We knew this when we bought him. We weren't looking for him to be the progressive part of our defence. He was there to be 6'7", and he was very, very good at being 6'7". So yeah, that's essentially, he did what he was here to do. Raphael Schifferl was a player we signed last summer. He also pretty good, 82% tackle win rate, 75% header win rate. We can see that he's really active when it comes to pressuring. So he's stepping out of the defensive line, more involved in the pressuring than he is in the possession one. Tends to be one or the other. So quite a different profile of defender, but doing well. Happy with Schifferl. And on the left, we have Kenneth Schmidt. Kenneth Schmidt, 77% tackle win rate, 75% header win rate. Not quite as good in the tackle as the others. Again, stepping out. Semi-progressive, carries the ball as well. I've been happy with Kenneth Schmidt. Offers us balance on the left, which is quite nice. So Beers in over on YouTube. Welcome in, my dude. Greetings from Serbia. Welcome. So who do you support then? Who's your team over in Serbia, Beer? Lovely to see you. Cockus Mouse says, I can't see a question of the day, but since it's Monday, I'll guess it's how did your team do on the weekend? There isn't a question of the day. So yes, it is. How did your team do on the weekend? Tyreek George Pan says it's an amazing win for his team. Which one? Is that Strasbourg? Did Chelsea play this weekend? I'm not sure. The Quer says, you think Jens Halen tipped off SI to have that picture in the game? I wasn't really paying attention to his image. It is very dramatic, isn't it? I'm guessing that's got to be a face pack picture for sure, right? Bear me one moment. Oh my, Brazilian Fury is in. Welcome in, my dude. How are you, sir? How are you? Thank you very much for the bits. You were told it's supposed to be blackjack. That's for after hours. Musterman after hours. I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be a particularly good idea, actually. Heston says, does Twitch backlog old streams? Like, can I see AC Moneyball, or is it lost to time? AC Moneyball is lost to time. Twitch only stores for 2 weeks. It was one of the reasons why whilst I was learning on Twitch, then when it came to this, I wanted to dual stream because then it archives over on YouTube the videos. But I didn't want to do that with the first series. I just wanted to focus on getting used a little bit to streaming. So Tyreek George fan, they beat Auxerre. Nice. Right, Billy Ryan says, are you a Strasbourg fan there? Indeed. Coratiba says, thankfully your team didn't play. So no Coratiba to ruin the weekend. Right, Sebastian Tubeck. Only played not enough minutes to judge on there. Just isn't winning his headers. I think we're going to sell him. He has a minimum release clause of 4.9 million. So we've essentially got a choice here of, I mean, we might be able to loan him out. But we're probably looking at needing to extend his contract, which I imagine will come with him wanting to be at least a squad player. Sorry, no, excuse me again. I am very, very gassy this evening. Yeah, so I imagine if we look to extend his contract, he's going to want to be at least a squad player, which might make loaning him out difficult, but it might mean we can increase that release clause and potentially get a little bit more money for him. So we'll see how how things go, how desperate we are to raise money over the course of the summer. We've got an expected transfer fund of around 4 million euros this summer. I'm hoping that's going to actually be quite a bit higher because we've secured European football, but we'll see. We've got to work on the assumption that it's just 4 million. And then our last centre back was Yannick Mousend. His tackle win rate was awful. His header win rate wasn't good. He played the majority of the time at defensive midfield, but I am a little bit concerned there. I am thinking of moving him formally to being a midfielder from here on in, but that tackle win rate really isn't good. So we are going to very much be keeping an eye on that as to whether he has any real future with us. I'm not necessarily feeling all too good about the situation there with him. So Blue Lions, as a Chelsea fan, was jealous of Santos and Petrovic's loans. Wish you had them. I mean, Blue Lions, why would you want Petrovic? Your goalkeepers are fine. You got loads of them. So Cox's Commercial was happy that they finally had a game again. Beating the Bayern second team is definitely a bonus too. Absolutely. Crodmo's in. Welcome in, my dude. How are you, sir? How's your weekend? Tyreek George fan, off to write an essay. A wise decision, sir. Fire in the hole. Right, okay. Yeah, I was like, took me a while. Right, so Cogsmar says, although I have bad news, former Darmstadt player, Tarek Bookman, injures his shoulder against us. Not ideal as he just came back from a long injury. That's all right. We can hate Tarek Bookman now. We can be happy he's injured. We're not. That's really horrible thing to say. I definitely am not happy anyone ends up injured. Just to be clear on that. Yeah, that is a bit of shit. So at right back, who did we have at right back? Our starting right back was meant to be Anton Guy, but he kept on being injured, so he didn't play much, only 475 minutes, which means that William Rashidi was our starting right back, finished the season with 10 assists, 4 goals. Really good. Into the last year of his contract, so we will be looking to extend that, I think. Hu Yin came in January as a... pardon me again. As a backup option, 20 years old. He's meant to be long-term, not necessarily part of the rotation yet, but he's done pretty solid. 79% tackle win rate, pressuring like crazy, good carrying the ball, good creating. They're the things I want from a fullback, and he's doing them well. So on the left, Tim Müller was meant to be the starter. 80% tackle win rate's good. Pressuring, dribbling, creating. That's exactly what we want. And then we had Nürnberger playing out there the majority of the time. Also played as a defensive midfielder. I prefer Nürnberger as a defensive midfielder. His stats here are going to be distorted by the fact that he was playing between the two positions. But I liked Nürnberger when he was playing as our more defensive midfielder. And that's where I hope we can have him going forwards. We do have Adam Asnu coming in. So he's going to be arriving on a free transfer from Hanover. It's this same profile that we love from fullbacks. Pressure, dribble, create, win your tackles at 82%. So, I feel like we've now got the depth at left back that we need, which is brilliant, which means that Nürnberger can play more centrally. Andre Brooks played a couple of games at left back, including one where he got sent off. Otherwise, he played in defensive midfield, where he was, in particular, it was his carrying and getting into the box that was quite impressive. I'm happy with Andre Brooks. Andre Brooks has been pretty damn solid for us. All hail the moderator. We've got the set of Crodmod in the house. The celebrations of Crodmo's arrival. Indeed. So Noah Mbamba, he's into the last year of his contract. He wants to leave. We're probably going to let him leave. 72% tackle win rates, probably on the edge of acceptable for a defensive midfielder. Does win his headers though, which is quite good. He doesn't keep the ball safe when he's on it. Popped up with some pretty key goals at times, but nothing particularly special. I think this is an area we can improve. We've got another player coming in this area as well, a gentleman named Johan Hove. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. So Johan Hove comes in as a player that pressures and wins possession, but can also get forward. So I see him in the role as I see Hove and Brooks as the volante. I see Nürnberger and Mousend as our defensive midfielder. And that's kind of going to be, I think, the core of our midfield offerings going forwards. There's a Chris Norton Walker. Welcome in, sir. How are you, dude? Lovely to see you, my man. How was your weekend? The third player option we have here, or fifth even, is Alex Garrido. Garrido, aggressive. That's cool. Wins his tackles at a decent rate. That's cool. He does lose the ball quite a lot. He's not active in pressuring or winning it back. He doesn't really impact anything in a goal scoring or a creative faculty. So we're probably going to be looking to move him on, which might mean someone like Benjamin Burnch will get a bit more game time, or we're going to look at maybe getting in that fifth midfielder in the transfer window. So now attacking midfielders. During the course of the season, we switched to 2 up top, which is probably going to be what we're looking at kind of long term. I think it worked better that way. So we will consider people in that respect as a single creative player at the top of midfield, and that should be interesting. Thank you, by the way, Batista JM, for the follow. Lovely to have you in. For some reason, it looks like the little follower thing hasn't popped off. So welcome on in. Love to have you in. Chris says, if you keep Burnch, you will have a bunch of midfielders. I see what you did there. Beautiful stuff. So Batista Jam says, do you have any advice on finding players using the skin? I struggle quite a bit to find players and to be sure they are of the required level. Well, that's what we're doing all the way through this stream, Batista Jam. This is a pizza party. We are looking through our squad. We're going to then be looking at we're going to be looking for transfer targets. Everything that I've said up until now, as we're going through, we're identifying what players are good at, what players are bad at, and where that means we then need to improve. So yeah, looking at the midfield area, Christian Hnokby-Hlinson certainly got better towards the end of the season. It's not been impressive. He's not created much. He has scored a few. However, this was really, really bad up until like the last third. Then as we changed the 2 up top, he seemed to get a little bit more into the rhythm of things. Or it felt that way, actually. Let's just check that. So in these last games here, we can see 3 goals, 3 assists in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, he's only on the pitch for 11 games there. So yeah, kind of around the Leipzig game back in February, he's had 1 goal contribution every 2 games. So despite his performance not being great, I actually feel quite comfortable with him in that role behind the striker. Oh, I'm going to need to wolf down the drinks tonight. My throat is not doing well. Welcome in, Wintower. Lovely to see you, my dude. Lovely. Welcome on in. So Chris says, I got a partial standing ovation on Saturday, although they could have just been wanting a wee at the end. I mean, either way, it all counts, right? It all counts. Roman Essa, S8 even, also played behind the striker. He played roughly the same amount. He played 200 minutes more than Hnokby-Hlinson. A very similar goal return. 5 goals, 5 assists. He scored a couple of really, really key goals right at the end. The one against Schalke in particular. Pardon me. Kind of much of a muchness. I'm quite happy with Roman Essa. He's also able to play up front if needs be. However, he is wanted by a Premier League team. He's wanted by a Premier League team, and if we can get 20 odd million for him, I'm not going to stand in his way. I might even actively kick him out the door in that basis, because whilst I think that he's been a good player, we've got a song for him. You know, I really like Roman Essa. That kind of money could be very, very useful. Very, very useful. Right, Dustin Forkel only played 156 minutes. I think this is the transfer window where we finally get rid of him, I'm afraid. Keenan Davis brought in as a backup option. His loan can finish. We're not particularly interested in keeping him around. Ellis Sims only scored 6 goals. Doesn't seem that impressive. However, he played less than 800 minutes because of injury at the beginning of the season. When it came to the second half of the season, when he needed to play regularly, he was brilliant. Couldn't stop scoring. 6 goals. Couldn't stop scoring. Maybe overstating it. But there was this run here, 6 games, where he scored 5 of those goals. Set up 2 as well. I was really pleased with Sims. He only dropped out of the starting lineup because we wanted to give Selke his moment before he retired, really. So yeah, I'm confident that Sims is good enough. I'd still like to consider him as a backup. So with Davy Selke leaving, we want a starting striker, Sims in relief. So that's how that kind of will work. Artem Stefanov only played 326 minutes, not really enough to judge on. His header win rate was pretty poor, 32%. You compare that to Selke's at 47%. Sims only won 29%. Wow, Sims only won 29% of his headers. Okay, that might change my opinion. So Stefanov as kind of like a 5th choice striker when we're playing with 2 up top, absolutely fine. Not someone I want to build around. And so that leaves us with Nathan Skitter. Nathan Skitter played 17 games up front, scored 5 goals. Solid. 12 goals behind the striker. So it's one of these where he's played between 2 roles, which are very different. I was quite happy with him. He scored some good goals. He was getting in behind. As a backup striker, I'd be quite happy. So if we have him as the backup advance forward, Ellis Sims as a backup target forward, that's fine. We just need starters in both those positions. So that's my thinking going into this summer. Is we essentially want we want a right back, maybe. We need to look at the Rashidi situation. I want a defensive midfielder. I want, possibly if we sell Esse, I want an advanced playmaker to push Linton, and I want starting strikers in both positions. Now that kind of tracks. We spent the last season or so really addressing our defence, and we ended up finishing the season with an okay defence, probably somewhere around the 6th or 7th best in the end. Conceded. The 6th best defence in the league, which is brilliant for our first season in the Bundesliga. But it's the striking part of the game where I want us to improve. We technically got the 5th best attack, but it didn't feel like it at times. In fact, sorry, let's pop back here. XG table. So we outscored our XG. We didn't outscore our XG against. If we were to look at XG, create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we should have been around 8th when it comes to attacking output, which is still pretty decent, but we could definitely be better. So Rich is in. Welcome in, my dude. The Man City mix is underway. How is it going? Going to be crazy to see the results there. Cromno says Forkle did. You know the rest. Indeed. Welcome in, Eunice, by the way. Lovely to see you, my dude. How was the weekend? And Red Up's here as well. Something was different. Took me quite a while to figure it out. Hello, everyone. Welcome in, Red Up. Yes, we've had a slight update to the way things are looking around here. This new stuff is weird. Change is bad. I'm sorry. You'll get used to it. It does allow us to show slightly more of the game, which is the main thing. Is we do get a whole extra 180 pixels at the bottom. It's gonna completely transform our lives. Surely. Right. So let's have a look at possible players. I didn't show off one other player we've got coming in. Tosin Adarabioyo is going to be joining us from Villarreal. He's now 32. Like the others, really good tackle win rate and header win rate. But when we compare him to, say, someone like Wimmer, who's not progressive, Adarabioyo is progressive, is dribbly, so he can help us a little bit more with breaking those lines, a little bit more comfortable on the ball. Oh, pardon me again. So he's probably got the best first touch and passing, I think, of our defense. I think we've got quite a few defenders with good passing, but most of them don't have good first touch or dribbling. So he just offers slightly more guile in our defensive unit. Help us maybe a little bit more in terms of securing possession in those early stages. So I'm happy with our centre back options. Our centre back options we're nice and covered. Let's do this. We want to know what the deal is with Rashidi in a contract. Okay, he doesn't want to renew his contract, so we definitely need a right back. We can't rely on Anton Guy to be fit, and Hu Yin is still young. We don't want to put too much faith in him yet. Let's see what the deal is with Tubek. Wow. Wants to be considered the most noteworthy player at the club and play as many matches as possible. Yeah, that playing times. Expect to start the majority. That's a no. So, Tubek has a release clause of 4.9 million euros, and that's going to be what he sells for. There we go. So that was a nice, easy decision. Rashidi doesn't want to either, so we're going to transfer list him. Let's see, will he bulk at 5 million? No, he won't. So we'll say 5 million for him. That's an opportunity there potentially to raise about 10 million euros, which is, at least that's something, right? What's the deal with the other contract? Salter we're going to be letting go. I'm quite happy to keep him around as a third choice, though. Sahinovic has got 2 years left. New signings. That's fine. And Bamba, he wants to leave, so let's transfer list him. What his value at the moment is between that and that. Let's start him at about 5 million as well. Mousen's got 2 years, 4 years, 2 years. 1 year left on Nürnberger. He's now 30, but I'm happy to extend him. He's on 38k. 41k is not particularly bad. Let's see. We might be able to even get him to do so without necessarily getting a pay rise. Can we do him at 38 but for a 3-year contract? We can't, but we might. 39.5? 40.5? 41.5. Oh well. We might be selling Nürnberger as well. Tim Muller's in the last year of his contract. What are his... 14.5 is reasonable, but anything more as a squad player? Yeah, I'm happy with that. So let's go 15.5 start. 16.5. Wow, nothing. No desire to negotiate whatsoever there at all. And Garrido, we know last year of contract, he can be transfer listed as well. Okay, so Sherb says currently doing a semi-similar playthrough, playing as Hertha, won the league with 6 games to spare, awesome, but clueless going into the transfer market this summer as I'm struggling to work out which are my areas of weakness are, to be fair. That's fair enough. I mean, it all comes down to knowing what you expect from the roles in your tactic as well. So we've talked quite a lot over the course of this this career so far about the tactic. I've got a very strong idea of what we're looking for. So we've only got one ball playing defender in our back three, and that player is the one that I expect to be progressive. Otherwise, I'm looking for header win rate and tackle win rate, and then with Schmidt, I'm looking at progressive passes. Out on the wings, we've got wing backs, so we're looking at them doing basically 4 things: tackling, so tackle win rate; pressuring the opposition, so pressures attempted; carrying the ball, so dribbling; and creating chances and expected assists. So that's nice and straightforward. Dribbles and expected assists are what we're ultimately looking for from the advanced playmaker as well. And then when we look at our midfielders, I'm looking for a midfielder who gets forwards and scores. So we're looking at a player that's going to pressure, but also overperform their XG. And then we're looking at someone who's going to help defend. So we're looking at someone who's good tackle win rate and good possession lost. I mean, we want them keeping it safe. And so we use that as we understand our tactic. We use that as our basis for understanding how players are performing. And you can do that comparatively, whether you're looking at players in your own squad or you're looking at players at other teams to work out what might be good within the level you're at. So let's see. Chris says, no banner with questions. There are no questions of the day today, Chris. No, there aren't. Because it doesn't quite fit into the little spot down in the bottom corner now. So Rich, it's only just started, but Kyle Walker's got 4 goals against my reserves, the advanced forward. It's clearly the way forward. Clearly what Man City should have been doing with Kyle Walker all along. Darmstadt is starting to become a UK retirement home. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. So Rich posted about it in...
Statistics! It's not the statistics! You tell me! How do you measure somebody that could balance a balloon in a wind tunnel on a needle?
Oh my, FMG&G, thank you very much for the resubscription. That's for 4 months you've been subscribed. What a legend. Welcome in, my dude. How are you, sir? How are you? Right, Sherbs, lol, sent to add just as you start to answer. So, Sherbs, identify what you need in your tactic. Judge your players based on what you expect them to do within your tactic. And then, as I said, you've been watching this. This is exactly how it goes. We go through the players one by one. We look at what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, and we use that as the basis to then process things through. So there we go. Right. So Nightcrawler's in. Welcome in. Tosin, a dribbly boyo. I like it. I like it a lot. Right. Milo's in as well. Been following you for a while, just fell in love with your FM skin. Which version of your skin are you using? Seems different than the one I use. Indeed, it is different, Milo, because it is built very specifically for the purpose of the stream. So these are essentially just me playing around with things without necessarily being specifically any part of a public release. Maestro's in. Welcome in, my dude. How are you, sir? Lovely to see you. So what are your thoughts on Asensio and Rashford so far? Permanent deals. I'm loving them both. They've both been absolutely fantastic. I don't think that Rashford has any intention of staying beyond this season. But I'd love us to sign Asensio. Well, I'd like to see Asensio keep it up and then us sign him because he's kept it up. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get stung just because he's had a good few games to start things off. But yeah, it's been positive so far. Right, yep. So we were going through and transfer listing players and just checking here. Benjamin Birch, yeah, we can definitely get him extended, surely. Breakthrough prospect, I'm fine with that. A little bit less in wages would do me nice. 6.5 for 4. Right, 6.5 for 3. There we go, that's fine. Skitter's got time left. Uda's a youngster. That's fine. Minimum release clause is going to be a no. He says yes. Very bold. We will say no to all of that. No to all of that. If you want a minimum fee release clause, it's 5 million. And that comes down to 2.9. So 5k I'm happy with. They've withdrawn straight away. That doesn't bode well. Dustin Forkel's going to be transfer list. Keep in mind, this is Saturday at 8:30 p.m. after the last game of the season. Literally, we've just come straight out of the last game of the season, and I'm transfer listing these guys, which probably is a little bit harsh. What would it take for us to renew Ellis Sims? expects to start the majority. That's not going to be the case. I'm not all that keen on the 27. Oh, 26. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now, when I've seen players come into contract discussions and say they're willing to accept less, I find that if I try to negotiate this at all, they then bounce all the way back up. So it's either a case of accept it or it's going to be higher. I'm happy to accept, so I'm not even going to risk it at all there. So there we go. We've got players transfer listed there now. So right, in case of the contract of Nürnberger, you can add bonuses like wage after reaching international caps, and if he gets at least 5 games in international level, he maybe deserves a pay rise. Mr. Echo, I am perfectly aware. Thank you very much. Now, keeping in mind that he is a fully fledged Bulgarian international, that's not going to necessarily help, and he is 30 years old. But thank you. Right, so let's have a look at the things that we want for our wing back. So we've said it multiple times before. We want someone that wins tackles. Generally speaking, that's around the 80% mark for fullbacks. So that's our starting point. We want someone who can create chances. If we use Rashidi as the basis here, 0.26, 3.6 dribbles, 14.61 pressures. So we go for 0.2. Stats general, not general, chalkboard movement. We're looking for 3 dribbles. And we're looking for pressures. There is one player in the whole world. Our scouts know of only one right back that might meet our criteria. If we move that down to accomplished, that doesn't change much there at all. So Lukmar says, what the fuck? My streamer is now on the left of my stream. I can't cope with this change. I'm sorry, Lukmar. Welcome in, my dude. Welcome in. Yes, we have. We've shifted over to the other side. Yeah, we're all voting for it to change back. Tough. Is Rashford doing a Jesse Lingard? Maybe, to be fair. Right, so let's have a look at Luka Pazarek here. They say he's an inverted wing back, but looks like he's playing like a relatively normal one. Does lose possession quite a lot, but does meet the criteria. From an attribute standpoint, technique's not great. Positioning and marking's not great, but when we play with a back 5, we can be a little bit more cavalier in that regards. Nothing really concerns me there. Doesn't like big matches. Yeah, that's livable with. Gets booked quite a bit. Just 3 yellow cards isn't that bad. Yeah, Pazarek's worth keeping an eye on. Let's just move some of this down a little bit more. Let's bring dribbles down to 2.5. Let's try pressures down maybe about 10. So that's a little bit on the lower side, but we'll see what things are going. So have we offered Selke a staff role? Not until it expires. We're going to wait for him to retire, and then we're going to offer, because that way his contract will be cheaper. Someone mentioned that the players are less flexible when doing that pre-talk, and that is easier to negotiate without it. Is it now? Interesting. M. Dorino says, do we need at least one experimented player in our teams? I don't know what you mean, sir. What do you mean by an experimented player? Cocky Smells, probably Nürnberg's management in real life did that, just for him to declare for Bulgaria instead of Germany. I mean, that'd be genius. That'd be genius. Right, so Jed Spence, we're definitely not interested in Jed Spence and his €70,000 per week wages. Zakaria Elouardi, however, has been playing higher up the pitch as a midfielder. And so we can kind of see if we looked at him as a fullback, he's doing the very fullbacky type things anyway. But obviously with more of a goal return, as you would expect, playing high up, can play as a wing back, might be worth exploring that as an idea. And basically, I just want to make sure he's not injury prone more than anything else. 4.5 million would be quite dear, but potentially, if we can get 5 million for Rashidi, that's kind of reasonable. Work rate is... Now, I am concerned about work rate, more than I am about the fact that he can't tackle. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him, but I'm not as enthusiastic about LORD as I am about Pazarek. Pazarek could well be the strongest option there. I did talk about money. So 45% of transfer revenue is there. We have already asked them to up that, so hopefully we will get... We did that before we ended the last stream, so hopefully we'll get that. Maybe we can get around, I don't know, 65% of revenue. That would be quite nice. That would definitely make a positive impression. So Mr. Echo, of course, you know, I just reminded, I thought he was in Dutch international. Makes sense now. That's no worries, my dude. To be the left is more becoming of you anyways. This is a political statement. Exactly. That is 100% the reason I've moved things over to the left. So the career says he's surprised we even found one player with 0.2 expected assists and that number of dribbles, especially when restricted to your scouting pool. I mean, yeah, you're going to find relatively few. Generally speaking, like a fullback above 0.10, I'd be very normally be quite happy with. But wing backs do tend to register a little bit more. And if William Rashidi can do it, there's got to be someone else in the world that can. Dealing with scouted players is certainly, obviously, a restriction that can be quite tough. But if we look at it this way, we've got a pool of around 1,200 players, which isn't too few. That does remind me. Let's see. Asnu comes up and meets that criteria, but obviously he's a left back, and he doesn't want to join because he's already joining. In that manner that makes so much sense. I mean, it does make sense, but it really doesn't. So the career says, isn't Uhardi's possession one lost good for the position he played in? Yeah, his possession lost 13 is really good. Possession one's pretty decent as well. It's that funny position where you don't really know 100% where to pick a player because he has played in multiple positions. So whilst he's played the majority of his games as a winger, we know that he's also played, what's that, just under 20% in a more defensive capacity. So it's going to start making some of those things like his possession attributes, and maybe some of his defensive possession metrics and defensive metrics look slightly better than a normal wingers would look, or vice versa as well. So it's always going to have a certain degree of limitations in that regard. Right, so we want a defensive midfielder as well. So we're looking. We'll use Mbamba as the basis because he did play between the midfield positions, but he's the player that we'd be looking to upgrade on. So ideally, if we could look at above 5 progressive passes, definitely above 72% tackle win rate. I'd like that closer to these other players. So Nürnberger was 78%, Brooks was 77%, Guido was 76%. So if we're going to say we'll use 75% as the starting point there, and we're looking for progressive passes, I don't mind whether it's the more defensive one's going to be possession one rather than pressures. So yeah, possession one, looking at about 9. So let's have a look here. Passes, progressive passes was 5.5. Tackles, possession one was 9. And tackle win rate You're saying 75%. Those are the values we're looking at. 5.5, 9, 75%. They were indeed. So not great options again. We've only got about 5 players here. Wessel Kuhn, 23-year-old anchor, has been playing as a left back rather than as a defensive midfielder, so we can't really judge him in that respect. Reasonably solid. Could be an option, but we would prefer someone who has been playing the role. 7.4 million. Probably not the most likely player for us to go to, but he is doing a lot of everything, isn't he? I like this kid. He's already on quite big wages compared to what we pay, 27 grand per week. No injury concerns, just solid all around. Minimum fee release clause for domestic clubs in a higher division, so that'll be why he's valued as he is. We'll keep an eye on him, but he might be a little bit too dear for us. So Nightcrawler says he wants signed Jed Spence just for his name. God, that name is glorious. Jed is an amazing name. Supreme Crown says you missed quite a bit, but how did you all get so rich? We're not rich. We're not. Oh, I mean, we do have 53 million in the bank. So by getting into the Bundesliga, essentially, the season's just ended. So we literally just before this we saved this. We got a nice big 60 million euro prize fund, which, you know, that helps things a lot. Helps things a lot. Right, Anas Salah Adine is a winger who's been playing as a left wing back. Yeah, it's like Wessel Kuhn. Maybe we'll look back at that somewhere down the line. But again, I prefer someone playing as a defensive midfielder. There's another player. Why are all the all of them are left backs? Why are they all left-footed? We don't know where Venegas has been playing. Or do we? No, we don't. We don't have. That's also in a league that we've not got loaded, so it won't be useful information there. Yeah, so one option potentially, Sima Suso. And that would be the fifth man in potentially. Right, attacking midfielders. I want someone that is more creative than both Knockby or Esse. 0.13 is not much at all. Both have about 0.2 goals. So I'm going to use goals as well. So we will go with goals per 90 and expected assists per 90. We would want them to be 0.2 as a low point for the goals because that's what they've actually scored. 0.2 is above what they've actually created, but you know, that's kind of like more of a case of what we would have hoped they were at. RJ's in. Welcome in, my dude. How are you, sir? Lovely to see you. Look, Mar, so no, there are no minigame redeems available. We're going to be using browser-based games when I come back off break. So there are no minigame points to redeem because I'm just going to redeem them automatically. Essentially. RG, why do I know Salah Adine? Can you show his previous clubs? I can indeed. Salah Adine. Here we go. He has spent the entirety of his career in the Netherlands, going from AZ to Ajax to Twente. Probably on loan, I'm guessing. Back to Ajax, back to Twente. Is that the player you thought he was? Yeah. Maybe you saw him in an Ajax game. Maybe. So Ryan knows that he's an Ajax player. My word. I've no idea where Arsenal came from. He was at Ajax. Where is he now? So this new Musterman regime is very strict. I'm quite taken aback. Then what in the world am I going to spend my hard-earned muster points on, I ask you? Don't worry, Redeems will be back. I am streaming 5 days this week. I've reworked the layout, so I haven't set up the new games on the layout. I also won't be able to realistically get games set up between each stream. I just don't have the time to do it. So I'm not going to ask you guys to spend money on points when I'm putting no effort into the games themselves. So when we're back to a more normal stream schedule, you will see normal service resumed, and then you'll be able to spend those hard-earned points. Right, we've got quite a few options for attacking midfielders here. Emilio Keras, surely he's been playing as a striker. He has indeed. Bartels playing as a winger. Very, very, very dribbly winger. Very, very dribbly winger. Now he is in the 3rd division. Oh, that just feels like that's too much of a leap up. Cruz Azul, we don't have that league loaded. We do have the championship loaded. 60 grand a week. It's definitely beyond what I'd be willing to look at. A regional division. Alanzinho in League 1. Alanzinho in League 1. Expected assists is quite impressive. He's outperforming his XG, which is great, but he doesn't actually get into many shooting positions per game. Yeah, not sold there. Keegan Yelich. Now, Brest is where we signed Nathan Skitter from. So potentially it was signing Nathan Skitter opened up the position for Jelicic to get more time starting. No, he's starting quite a bit the previous season, but 12 and 12 is a pretty impressive return. We will keep an eye on Jelicic. I'm not convinced he's the right profile of player that we're looking for, but he is performing well. He is performing well indeed. So Cromo says what he means is he's forgotten to set up any games. I mean, I haven't. I literally don't have the. I've told you I can't. Oh, whatever. You're trying to wind me up. Yeah, you're working. It's working. Right. Haksabanovic. Reasonably creative. Is performing above his XG, getting into more shooting positions, which is kind of okay. But just doesn't feel. I'm not convinced, but we will keep an eye on him. Castria and Mary. Now he has been good in terms of creative output. We were keeping an eye on him last year as well. Yeah, I don't mind Mary. Cabral we looked at before, just didn't seem to be the right profile for us. Nevenhouse needs to be doing something special because he's down in the Kuchen Campion division. He's not special. Max Meyer. Not that Max Meyer though, I'm guessing. And they're all playing in regional divisions. So I'm not sure there's someone really that I'm liking the looks of in terms of attacking midfielders. So is that Tilo Kera's brother? I'd assume so. Salah Pauk's in. How's it going? Do you have a suggestion for a new save on FM? I can't find something. Thank you very much, Crubmo. Good, nice and quick there. Rich asks, general question, is there any consensus in the FM community as to whether ball-playing defenders are an effective role in the FM24 match engine? The ball-playing defenders are often a feature in the most overpowered tactics, so I believe so, yes. So Mr. Echo signed Alanzinho in La Liga club, and he was a flop. There we go. The Career says, considering you have both XG and shots on the pizza chart, why not both key passes and expected assists, maybe open play ones too. So the quiz, if it's behind the paywall, unfortunately, but if you head on over to say the link with the skin there, you've got a further link to the article on The Athletic about the Smarter Scout pizza charts, and it's specifically about looking for the metrics that show different things. So it feels like shots and non-penalty XG are the same thing, but they're kind of not. They inform one another. Shots helps you understand the ability to get into shooting positions, the ability to make decisions over shot quality, and then conversions are all considered different skills. Whereas with expected assists, that kind of covers the one area that you're looking at, which was, well, essentially was the shot creating actions, excluding shots. So it's all about representing those same criteria that scouts tend to use in real life. Now there are actually something like 14 or 15 areas in the Smarter Scout ones, of which there are 3 that are excluded from our charts because there isn't a metric in FM or a singular metric in FM which can show that. So Selkers, what are going to be our bases? 47% header win rate, 53% shot accuracy, around 0.5 goals. I think we can work with that. If we try 0.5, that's really pushing it up. Stats, aerial, header 1 ratio, 45. Shot accuracy. Let's do that at 50. Let's do that at 0.4. So Ladislav Almasi, who we're already looking at, that's perfect. Macho Maya is, sorry. So that's a league that we don't have, so we can't really take it at great value. Doesn't look to be anything particularly special. Nick Waltermada, he scored 11 goals, not bad. 54% header win rate's pretty decent as well. Maybe worth it. How long's he out for? Out for 2 weeks. We'll keep an eye on him. And then there's Sidney Van Hooijdonk, who's now 30 years old. He scored 23 goals in the second division in Spain. Whether he's able to make the step up there for, like, so when he was in La Liga, 5 goals and 37 is not great, but he has proven to be an effective goal scorer. Yeah, I've got concerns that he can make the step up, quite frankly. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry, Martin. I didn't see your raid. I do apologise. Welcome on in. If you are still around, lovely to see you. I do apologise for not catching that. So let's see what we've got going on here. Lookmar says, suggest reading a history book about a certain region and choosing a club based in a city central to the events of the book. It's how you ended up with Bordeaux. That's quite cool. So Maestro asks, is there any metric for me to be able to determine whether or not my winger is a runner or ball to feet type player? I guess offsides is a perfectly reasonable thing. Trait tries to find space. If only that tries to beat offside trap. Indeed. So yeah, I'd be looking at their traits more than anything else. Generally speaking, you can tell. I tend to find that dribbles per 90 tends to be a good metric for looking at. Also, like fast players. Fast players tend to complete more dribbles per 90 because they're able to push the ball into space. And the way that dribbles are measured, it's basically just carrying a ball past the player, as long as that opposition player is something like within 3 or 5 yards. It's how it's recorded in real life as well. Dribbles aren't really measurement of dribbles, but there's also high intensity sprints as well. That doesn't pick up on, say, a player's top speed, but it does show how often they're making sprints, which can be a way of kind of identifying players that are making runs more than getting the ball into feet. Ragnar Ake, we passed on Ake before. Nothing much has changed there. I mean, Ladislav Amati is probably the favourite. Probably the favourite, to be honest. He kind of does the job we do. Again, quite slim pickings for us there. And then for what we've got going on here now, none of our players played all season as an advanced forward, so we don't really have the information to go on. So I'm going to just look specifically for someone that scores quite a lot of goals. And we've talked about using dribbles. I find dribbles is quite a useful one as well. Now, Skitter was on 0.95, so let's try that at about 1. I'm going to bring shot and target ratio down a little bit. The faster strikers tend to be a little bit wilder with their shooting, as far as I would say. So we'll see what options we get here. Marcus Paolo and his 99,000 euros per week can be passed on. Fiston Zeragaba, what a great first name. He's left-footed. I like that sound already. So he is currently playing non-league team. So that probably doesn't bode well, but he is scoring a fair whack. Yeah, maybe that's not a case. So what's a ball-playing defender? You only use bipolar disorders at centre-back. Indeed, BPD. Right. So Blue Moon says, currently doing a Frankfurt save, really struggling to score goals. I've tinkered with both slower build-up and more direct with no results. How would you go about diagnosing the issue? Thanks. So Blue Moon, I would be looking at the data hub. So we can, generally speaking, get a whole host of information through here. If you look through the scatter graphs, you can generally start to pick out certain bits of information. So I find something like attacking efficiency really helps in terms of how you're doing in terms of shot creation and conversion rate. You can start to see that if you're creating good chances but your conversion rate is poor, it's going to be a case of the quality of the chances that you're making. So you want to maybe prioritize on, yes, that slower play, maybe working the ball into the box. If it's the other way around, that your conversion rate is really good but your shots aren't there, maybe you want to be a little bit more cavalier. You might want to start shooting from distance. You might want to look to be a little bit more direct. If you're finding that you're doing bad on both of them, generally speaking, you might want to be more direct. You might want to attack the opposition before they have a chance to settle. But it's all about going through the information that is available for you. Where are you creating from? So you can't see where your chance creation is from without going into the games individually themselves, but you can see where your assists are from. So are you noticing that you are having more build up in certain areas than others? And yeah, so you just keep on going through and seeing what you can find through that way. Right, let me grab. Oh, okay. We've got a break coming up. I'm going to grab a drink before that anyway, because my throat is going all very funny right now. So Michael Kaufman, 9 goals in just over 9 games. Getting down at second Bundesliga level is a little bit of a concern. Oh, do we have anyone at a good level? Paulo Gracia. Paulo Gracia is playing in the top division of Portugal. 10 goals in 10 games. That's a good start. 6 of those goals were in the Conference League. 3 of them were in the Allianz Cup. Only 1 goal in Liga Portugal. Not that many games. Let's make sure we get him scouted more. Maybe he's an option. Iruka Macy we looked at before. As a target forward before, he ended up a little bit below where we're looking for in terms of headers won for a target forward. But he is still scoring at a reasonably decent rate down at the Zweite Bundesliga level. I want someone who's got some pedigree of scoring at a top level. He's not playing at the top level, has he? He played one game Sparta senior level. Right, so Paulo Grassa is the one option so far. Let's drop the goal output down a little bit, see what options we've got here. Emilio Kehrer, Zweite Bundesliga. Like that, I know that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a good player, but we've got, in terms of like we've got Nathan Skitter, who, you know, is kind of that player that's made the step up from a lower division. He came from Ligue 2. We're looking for someone that's going to slot in straight away. So I'm wanting to be a little bit more discerning. That said, Martin Sternbring has come up every time we've looked at this. He's got 10 goals now in the Nordic League, which isn't that great. He keeps on coming up when we are searching for strikers. He does outperform his XG. Does get into good shooting positions. Oh, and his contract's about to expire. I might bring him in as like a 6th choice. So as a player for our youth team, essentially at 21, our B team. Because his name keeps on coming up. Keeps on cropping up. As a breakthrough prospect, that's fine. Not going to offer you a short contract. No to not any of that. A 4-year contract. 1.3k. I'm certainly happy with that. And we're off for a break now. So we are heading off to a break. We'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes time, where we'll play a little mini game. So I'm going to see you guys shortly. Until then. Thank you, Lukmar. That's okay. I was just moaning about how my ad blocker stopped working, and just reading out Team Sport Feel Like a Champion book now over and over again like a madman. Welcome back, guys. Lukmar's redeemed this game indeed. I did see Lukmar No Pants has redeemed a minigame. So we're going to play a quick round of Missing 11. It's exactly the same as what we play on the channel, just I haven't chosen the game this time round. So we are looking for the starting 11 for Man United's 1-1 draw against Fulham in the Premier League in 2004 at Craven Cottage. So get your guesses in. We've got the letters, the number of letters in each player's name. So we've got an initial guess for Beckham. I'm guessing on the right of midfield there. Not on the right of midfield. Surely not at right back. Maybe on the right wing? Do we want to try that there, or do we want to try Ronaldo on the right wing? We've got Sahar as a guess. There isn't any 4-letter names, I'm afraid. Keane, perhaps in the middle of midfield. It is indeed Keane. RJ, beautiful work there. Could it be Carrick? It's not going to be Carrick in that spot there. If it is Carrick, it's going to be further back. Ronaldo has been guessed. Let's try Ronaldo on the right wing. It is, of course, Ronaldo. Is there a bit of Rooney? There doesn't appear to be any Rooney, I don't think, as that's a... Oh no, that's a 6-letter, isn't it? I always think Rooney's 7 for some reason. So it is Rooney, and it was Rich who came in first with Rooney. Do we have a bit of Giggs on the left there? Robbie Joey suggesting Giggs. Not in that spot. Do we have him up front? We do indeed, on the wing. Beautiful stuff. So that does mean there's no Dwight York, I don't think, nor Carlos Tevez. Unfortunately, no Sahar either, or a Van Nistelrooy. Could there be an O'Shea in defence? O-S-H-E-A. That's a 5-letter name. Sadly, it's not. Could there be a Vidic? That's also 5, so it's not. Ferdinand, that seems like it should fit in that spot. It is indeed Maestro. That's Rich who came in there first with just pipping Maestro to the spot there. Could we have Neville on the right? We do indeed have Neville. Do we have Valencia? Now, we don't have Valencia. We've got a name with a C, an H, and an E in midfield alongside Keane on the right. Do we have Silvestre? Is Silvestre 9 letters? And could he be at left back? He is indeed. Again, that's Rich pipping Crodmo to the post. We've had Keane. Do we have Heinze? Could Heinze have been playing at centre back? Heinze was playing it. Heinze at centre back, Silvestre at left back. Interesting choices there. How about Barthez in goal? It's not Barthez in goal. It's somebody else. We've got the A and the R correct. Could it be Carroll? It could indeed be Carroll FMGNG. Beautiful stuff. All right, do we have Anderson in midfield? We don't have Anderson in midfield, unfortunately. We could have Smith. We do have the letters for Smith. We do have Smith Coatiba. Beautiful stuff. And that would mean that has to be, as the La Lucasian says, Scholes. Beautiful work, guys. Absolutely beautiful work. That is some marvellous stuff there. So we've got Roy Carroll, Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, Gabriel Heinze, Mikel Silvestre, a midfield of Paul Scholes, Roy Keane and Alan Smith, and then Ronaldo, Rooney and Giggs up front. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. So do we get points for that, says Crodmo? Yes, we do get points for that. I will try and track it tomorrow when I do the totting up. So yeah. So was Beckham already at Madrid at that point, asks Lukmar. Possibly. What, 2004? Must have been around that time, right? I'm guessing it was around that time. Right, yeah, so we've moved these down. Let's see if we've got some players that maybe come to mind. Liam Miller, doing it in a top division. Yes, it's the Swiss Super League, but that's still there. Where's he playing? He's playing as a striker mainly, where he carries the ball a lot. He is creating... Actually, sorry, that's one thing I would like. I would like, if possible, for them to be at least strong on their left foot. That doesn't look great for us. Let's remove that. So in terms of we just wanted to go on goals per 90. There aren't many left footers anyway. In fact, there aren't that many left footers, just generally speaking. We've got a list of 25, so it makes sense there's only a few. So we don't necessarily have the greatest selection of players there. Who's Matthew Smith? Oh yes, there's that player. That was the player that we were looking. We've got scouts out looking at players previously. So there's Kai Norman Burder as well, who was a player we're looking at because of his expected to be a very good player, I think. Doesn't even say much about him becoming much better, but he has made a couple of appearances in Bundesliga. We're not looking at him in terms of his output yet. We're looking at him in terms of just being a very good prospect. So he's not going to be the long-term answer there. So I'm thinking, looking at what we've got so far, I'm not necessarily comfortable with our options in attack. Now, Ladislav Almasi, he's currently got no interest. He signed a new contract back in February. So that's probably just going to be a case of waiting for the new season to roll around and seeing if he'd be interested then. He has, for a large part of our time, been our hopeful plan for replacing Selke. But yeah, so I think we've got enough going on there that we can... Oh, click there. It's going to be a little bit of time before we end up doing this. I'm not going to talk to you. I've already told you can leave. Yeah, so now just let's see if we can get some of those scout reports back and crack on with things. Yay, points, says Quadmo, indeed. We've sold a young player who's going to be out of contract anyway. So we're staying at 600k per week. That's fine. Average of 24k per week for player. Transfer budget of 29 million. That should be more than sufficient. So Beckham, Quadmo says Beckham had already moved to Madrid at that point. Fair enough. And which confirms as well. Left in 2003. I'll be honest, I was a little bit surprised that Keane was still at United in 2004. Oh boy. I've just discovered something. Bear me one moment. Chaps and chapesses. I forgot to do something when I started up the game. So let's do that. You may have encountered a little bit of lagging there. Because I forgot to set the CPUs. Hopefully that should be better from now on in. I hope so anyway, at least. So yeah, we've got a decent budget there to work with, which is great. Let's see what the deal is here. They want us to play entertaining football. Maybe. They want us to spend the transfer budget, and they're going to look to build a new stadium. Marvellous stuff. Meeting, we say hello. We say goodbye. Beautiful. And we'll see if we start. Now, we don't really expect any bids to come in, maybe until I think the Premier League window opens around the 9th of June? Somewhere around that, I think. Oh, there's some interesting information there. So they are going to look at a new stadium, capacity to be confirmed, the cost to be confirmed, the surface to be confirmed, the roof to be confirmed, the undersoil heating to be confirmed, the build start date to be confirmed, the build completion date to be confirmed. 60% of transfer revenue. That's nice. That's nice. Right, so Keane started as manager at Sunderland in 2006. Played at Celtic a season before. So I think Keane left United during the 04-05 season. Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. They're quite right. Only the best clubs build those. A new stadium. Why might you be saying that, sir? Why might you be saying that? Look, Mar, did they not see us draw our way through the season and they expect entertainment? I have a feeling they saw us draw the way through the season and went, that's not good enough. We would like some entertainment now, please. What did I mean by switching CPU? Not switching, turning off cores. So when Football Manager is a very CPU heavy game, so when streaming, what I have to do, or what most people have to do, is they need to set the core affinity, which essentially means just telling the PC to not use half of the CPUs on the game, and that will allow things like OBS to process without lagging. I forgot to do that, so I just had to basically set the affinity now whilst we're on stream to remove those. Right, unable to agree a new contract for backup keeper, that's fine, he can leave. Bernd signs a new deal, Muller signs a new deal, that's marvellous. You've got troubles with your game currently, that's why I'm curious. Right, look, Mars, so in that regard, it doesn't make things better. It makes processing a lot slower. But it's purely there for a lag reason. Right, and Bamba apparently no longer wants a new deal because their team's interested in him. No one's balking at the asking price, which is great. Zoachol, welcome in. Wow, did I miss the game? No, you did indeed, Zoachol. I'm sorry to say. You did miss it. Right, Stenbring comes in as a young prospect, but he's not really... I don't expect him to be our answer, that's for sure. Knight of Nizin, welcome in, my dude. How are you? How was your weekend? How is everyone? What's been going on so far? So, Knight, so far today, we've just been looking through the players and getting some players shortlisted for transfer window. So it's been a very, very chill day so far. Right, let's carry on. So we've got some players shortlisted for right back, for defensive midfield, for attacking midfield, and for striker. I do feel like we are a little bit short on options for advanced forwards, which we might end up casting our glaze further afield. Maybe this is where we start looking at the inactive leagues, maybe to your Argentinas and things like that. But we're going to concentrate on the ones we've noticed first, see what happens maybe when we move over to a new season as well. We're going to lose the performance data, but hopefully our reputation will take a nice little bit of a boost, so that we'll get a slightly wider pool of players worth looking at. Right, Paolo Grassa. He was there as a possible fast boy or advanced forward type. We still need more scouting on him, though. We don't even know his traits at the moment. Certainly seems to be in the realms of affordability, at least. Bayern Munich complete a double, winning the DFB Pokal. Here's our review. Interesting. So, in terms of average rating, Benedikt Wimmer wasn't the best signing. In fact, the board only called him a C+, but he is our signing of the season. Sahinovic is an A, damn right he is. Nathan Skitter, an A+, 7 goals, 9 assists, I think that's kind of fair. They're happy with Andre Brooks as well. Happy with Schiffel. C+ for Benedikt Wimmer seems harsh. Hugh Yin did alright. A- for Linton, perhaps. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think he was one of our worst signings. Stefanov a B. Keenan Davison A. How did our players get on here? So, Gaston Avila, we were sad to see him go, but his minimum fee release clause was met. He's done well over in China. That's fair enough. Buchberger can't get game time for Greuther Fürth reserves. Rocker-Vatter's done well over in Austria with RB Salzburg. 22.5 million. I think we've got to be delighted to have got him moved on. Oliver Cooper, 3 million to Portland Timbers. He's only played a handful of games. Tristan Top Rasmussen hasn't been able to start regularly for Ingolstadt. Benedict Gimbers have been on the fringes for Mainz. Brian Hine left us on a free transfer and played just 2 games for Hamburg. Lucas Ferder did play quite a bit. Lucas Ferder, there we go. at Victoria Colne, 29 starts. Yeah, I think we can be happy with our outgoings there. Yeah, great performance in the league, disappointing in the cup. Biggest win, 5-1 against Eintracht Frankfurt. I'm surprised that's not the match to remember, as that was against our rivals. Sponsorship's gone down. Competition money's obviously gone up. It's going to line us up in the 3-4-2-1. Right, no awards for me, no awards for our players. Rashidi holds a new record. Sahinovic holds a new record. Bata holds a new record. Top scorer, Davy Selke. Beautiful stuff. A solid season. So Lookmar says, since a seemingly random day in December, I think I've been having frame rate issues, most often during the actual games, but sometimes also outside of the games. It's even noticeable with a pizza chart animation of your skin. It's pretty annoying. That does seem quite concerning. I know it probably won't be, but have you verified the files with Steam? Might just be worth to see if there's something's got a little bit corrupted on the back end and just needs to be refreshed. So Blue Moon's had the same issue. Let me try and find the fix. Are you on Windows? I'm guessing. Oh, perfect. So we might have a solution forthcoming. Night says the weekend was all work. My off time for this week and from now until Tuesday included. Right. So hopefully that means you're finally going to get a chance to relax, chill. Just a chance to step back and hopefully not have to worry. Nobody wants to have a weekend of all work. I'm sorry to hear that. So Blue Moon says it's an issue with one of the latest updates. Give me a moment. I'll see if I can find what worked for me. Could it be the right? So Blue Moon, beautiful's come through. I was wondering whether there's anything to do with the Windows update that I know has caused some issues for some people, but no, looks like Blue Moon has the solution. So jumping into the stream as you look at Portuguese was something of a synchronicity thing. It was meant to be, Nightany. It was meant to be, evidently. Right, we just need to hop on through. Oh, okay, right. Feeling a little bit dizzy, which is a bit of a surprise. Just bear me one moment. I'm just gonna head to a break for a second. Unexpected one. I'll just give me a couple of moments. Right, okay. I know that feeling. That's the heart is starting to go a little bit now. So I'm going to be calling the stream there. Not going to raid out. Just going to head off stream. Nothing to worry about. This is perfectly normal for me. It's something that I deal with on a regular basis. So it's just one of those things. We've generally been quite lucky up until now that it hasn't occurred during the stream. Which means that I didn't get to do the big reveal. So I'll do the big reveal as well. That's scary. Should be all right. I'll let you guys know what's going on. I should be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. I'll see you guys then. Cheers. Good night.